You wake up in the morning and before your eyes are even fully open, it is already there, a heaviness that follows you from morning to night, whispering that something is wrong, that there is too much to handle, that you are falling behind. If you have felt that, if stress has become a quiet companion you never invited, then this video is for you. Stress is one of the most common forms of suffering in the modern world. And yet, more than 2,500 years ago, the Buddha spoke directly to this pain. He understood the restless mind. He understood the weight of worry. And he left behind teachings so timeless, so deeply human, that they feel as though they were written for this exact moment in your life. In this video, we explore 7 of those teachings, 7 lessons that can help you breathe again, soften the grip of stress, and return to the peace that has always been yours. 1. Stress begins in the mind. Take a moment and think about the last time you felt truly overwhelmed. What was it that caused it? A deadline? A difficult conversation, a fear about money or health or the future. It might seem like the stress came from outside, from circumstances, from other people, from the demands of life pressing in from every direction. But the Buddha offered a different understanding. He taught that the outer world is not the source of our suffering. It is how the mind meets the outer world that creates pain. He said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." This is not a dismissal of real-world challenges. It is an invitation to look more closely at the relationship between our thoughts and our experience. When we are stressed, the mind is almost always living somewhere other than the present moment. It is replaying a conversation from yesterday, rehearsing a confrontation that may never happen, or cataloging everything that could go wrong tomorrow. The stress we feel is rarely caused by what is actually in front of us. It is caused by the story the mind builds around it. Think of 2 people facing the same difficult situation, perhaps an unexpected loss of work or a sudden change in their plans. One person spirals into weeks of anxiety, convinced that life is crumbling. The other feels the discomfort, sits with it, and gradually finds their footing. The situation is identical. What is different is the mind's response to it. The Buddha taught that with awareness we can begin to see our thoughts for what they are, not facts, not prophecies, not the full truth of our lives, but passing mental events. Like weather moving through the sky, thoughts arise and dissolve. Stress, in this sense, is not a permanent condition. It is a pattern of thinking that the mind has learned, and what the mind has learned, it can also unlearn. This does not mean forcing yourself to think positively or pretending that life is without difficulty. It means developing the kind of inner awareness that lets you watch your stress without becoming it. To notice the thought without letting the thought become your entire world. You are not your stress. You are the awareness beneath it. And that awareness, calm, open and clear, has never left you. It is waiting patiently beneath every anxious thought, every sleepless night, every moment of overwhelm. When you begin to see stress as a creation of the mind rather than a verdict on your life, something quietly but profoundly shifts. 2. Attachment is the root of anxiety. Have you ever noticed how much energy we spend trying to hold things in place? We grip tightly to the way things are or to the way we wish they would be. We attach ourselves to outcomes, to relationships, to versions of our lives that we have decided must happen a certain way. And when life moves, as it always does, we suffer. The Buddha identified attachment as one of the deepest roots of human suffering. He did not say this to be harsh or to suggest that we should not love or care or hope. He said it because he had observed with great compassion how much pain is born from the desperate need for things to be different from what they are. Stress, in so many of its forms, is attachment in disguise. We are attached to being seen a certain way, and so criticism cuts deeply. We are attached to feeling secure, and so uncertainty feels unbearable. We are attached to our plans, and so disruption sends us spiraling. Every place where stress lives, look a little closer, and you will almost always find something we are holding too tightly. There is a story of a man who came to the Buddha, exhausted and full of worry. He listed everything that troubled him: his work, his family, his fears about the future. The Buddha listened patiently and then gently asked, "What would happen if you simply allowed things to be as they are, just for this one moment?" The man looked confused. He said, "But nothing would get done." And the Buddha smiled and said, "Or perhaps everything would become clearer." Letting go of attachment does not mean letting go of responsibility. It does not mean indifference. It means loosening the white-knuckle grip of the mind that insists, "This must go my way, or I cannot be at peace." It means discovering that peace is not something you earn by controlling every outcome. It is something you uncover when you stop needing everything to be different. When you feel the tension of stress rising, ask yourself gently, what am I holding on to right now? What am I afraid to lose or afraid will never come? Sometimes, just naming the attachment, really seeing it, is enough to loosen its hold. You do not have to solve everything. You do not have to fix everything. You only have to be willing to release the grip, just a little, and let life breathe. 3. The present moment is the only place peace exists. If you were to trace every thread of stress back to its source, you would find that almost none of it lives in the present moment. Stress lives in the past, in regrets we rehearse, in wounds we carry, in versions of ourselves we are ashamed of. And stress lives in the future, in fears we project, in catastrophes we imagine, in 1,000 things that have not happened and may never happen. The present moment, right now, is almost always quieter than the mind makes it seem. The Buddha taught that the present moment is not simply a good place to spend time. It is the only place life actually occurs. The past is a memory. The future is a thought. Only now is real. And yet we spend so much of our lives anywhere but here, carried away by mental storms of our own making. There is a teaching in Zen Buddhism that captures this beautifully. A student once asked his master, "What is the secret to peace?" The master replied simply, "When I am hungry, I eat. When I am tired, I sleep." The student was puzzled. But doesn't everyone do that? And the master shook his head gently. No, when most people eat, they are thinking about 100 other things. When most people sleep, they are still running from the day. Full presence is not passive. It is not the absence of action. It is the most alive, most engaged way of being in the world, where each breath, each conversation, each simple task is met with your full attention. And in that full attention, stress loses much of its power. Because stress needs the past and the future to survive. It cannot easily exist in genuine, open, present moment awareness. You do not need to meditate for hours to access this. You can begin right now with the simplest things. Feel the weight of your body in your seat. Notice the rhythm of your breath. Hear the sounds around you without naming them or judging them. This is presence. This is what the Buddha pointed toward. Not a complicated philosophy, but a simple return, again and again, to the only moment you ever truly have. When stress arises, remember, it is almost never about right now. And right now is the only place you have the power to be at peace. 4. Suffering multiplies when we resist it. Here is something that very few people understand about stress, and yet once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Stress is painful, but much of the suffering we experience does not come from the stress itself. It comes from our resistance to it, from the layer of struggle we add on top of it, from fighting the feeling, judging ourselves for having it, wishing it would disappear, wondering what is wrong with us for feeling this way. The Buddha taught what is sometimes called the second arrow. When you are struck by an arrow, that is pain, unavoidable, real. But when you then spend your energy being angry that you were struck, blaming yourself, cursing your situation, imagining how it should have been different, that is the second arrow. And that second arrow, the one we fire at ourselves, is almost always more painful than the first. So many of us carry this second arrow without even knowing it. We feel stressed, and then we feel stressed about being stressed. We feel anxious, and then ashamed that we cannot simply calm down. We feel overwhelmed, and then guilty that we cannot hold it all together. The original pain becomes wrapped in layers of self-judgment that multiply the suffering far beyond what it needs to be. What would it mean to put down the second arrow? Not to pretend the stress is not there, not to mask it or push it away, simply to say, this is here, I am feeling this. And that is okay. To meet your own inner experience with the same gentleness you would offer a friend who came to you hurting. The Buddha was not teaching that life is without pain. He was deeply clear that suffering is part of the human experience. What he offered was a path through it, not around it. And the beginning of that path is radical acceptance, allowing what is to simply be what it is without adding the weight of resistance on top of it. This is perhaps one of the most compassionate gifts you can give yourself. The next time stress arrives, instead of immediately trying to fix it, escape it, or judge it, just sit with it for a moment. Breathe into it. Say quietly to yourself, "This is hard, and I am doing my best." In that small act of self-compassion, the second arrow falls away, and you may be surprised how much lighter everything feels. 5. Simplify your inner world to calm your outer life. We live in a time of relentless noise. Notifications, deadlines, opinions, comparisons, expectations, layer upon layer of demand pressing in from every direction. And somewhere beneath all of that noise, there is a quieter version of you waiting to be heard. A version that does not need everything to be figured out right now. A version that knows deeply that peace is not something to be chased. It is something to be returned to. The Buddha taught the profound value of simplicity, not as a lifestyle trend, but as a path to freedom. He understood that a cluttered mind cannot find peace, no matter how beautiful the outer circumstances. A person can be sitting in paradise and still be tormented by a restless inner world. And a person can be sitting in the simplest of rooms with very little, and know a peace that feels like the whole sky opening up inside them. The question worth sitting with is this: how much of your stress is born not from what life has handed you, but from how much you are trying to hold at once? How many open loops are running in your mind right now? Unfinished conversations, unresolved worries, plans forming and dissolving, fears you keep returning to like a sore tooth you cannot stop touching. There is a Zen teaching that says the mind is like a bowl of water. When the water is still, you can see straight to the bottom. Everything is clear, everything is visible. But when the water is constantly stirred by urgency, by overthinking, by the need to have all the answers right now, the water becomes cloudy and you can no longer see anything clearly. Stress, in many ways, is simply a stirred bowl of water. Simplifying your inner world does not require you to change your outer circumstances overnight. It begins with small, deliberate acts of mental quieting. It begins with choosing not to chase every thought that arises. It begins with asking yourself honestly and without judgment, what truly matters today? Not this week, not this year, just today. What is the one thing that deserves your full presence and attention right now? The Buddha spoke about a concept called right effort. Not maximum effort, not exhausting effort, but the kind of effort that is clear, focused, and sustainable. So much of our stress comes from trying to do everything, be everything, and hold everything together simultaneously. Right effort invites us to do less, but to do it more fully, to give fewer things our complete attention, rather than giving everything our fractured, half-present attention. When you simplify your inner world, you begin to notice something remarkable. The stress does not disappear entirely, but it loses its urgency. It loses that frantic, suffocating quality that makes it feel like everything is falling apart. You begin to move through your day with a little more ease, a little more grace, not because life has become less demanding, but because you have become less at war with it. As you move through the rest of your day, try this. Choose one thing to let go of mentally. One worry you have been carrying that you cannot solve right now. One open loop you can consciously close just for today. Place it down gently. You can always pick it back up later if you truly need it. But for now, let the water in the bowl grow still. Let the mind settle. And notice in that stillness how much more of life becomes visible to you. 6. Your breath is the bridge between chaos and calm. Of all the tools the Buddha offered for navigating the storms of the mind, none is more immediate, more accessible, or more quietly powerful than the breath. It is always with you. It costs nothing. It requires no special conditions. And yet most of us spend our entire lives breathing without ever truly noticing it, carrying around one of the most profound instruments of peace without ever learning to use it. The ancient practice of anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing, was one of the core practices the Buddha taught to his students. He described the breath as a refuge, a place the mind can return to whenever it has been carried away by the currents of thought, fear, or stress. Breathing in, he said, I calm the body. Breathing out, I calm the body. Simple words, but in them lives an entire path to peace. Here is what happens in the body when stress arrives. The breath becomes shallow. The chest tightens. The muscles brace. The nervous system shifts into a state of alert, ready to fight or flee from a danger that, in most modern cases, is not a physical threat at all, but a thought, a fear, a story the mind is telling itself. And because the body cannot tell the difference between a real tiger and an anxious thought, it responds the same way, with tension, with urgency, with that unmistakable feeling that something is terribly wrong. But the relationship between the breath and the nervous system runs in both directions. Just as stress changes the breath can change the stress. When you consciously slow your breathing, when you take a long, deep inhale and an even longer, slower exhale, you send a direct signal to the nervous system that it is safe to relax. The body begins to soften. The heart rate slows. The mind, following the body's lead, begins to quiet. This is not mysticism. This is physiology meeting ancient wisdom, and the two are in complete agreement. There is a story of a young monk who came to his teacher in a state of great agitation. His mind would not stop racing. He had tried to meditate, but the thoughts kept coming, louder and louder, more and more overwhelming. He felt hopeless, as though peace would never be available to him. His teacher sat beside him quietly for a moment and then said only this: "Come back to your breath, not to stop the thoughts, not to silence the mind, just to give yourself somewhere to return to again and again." The monk tried. Each time a thought pulled him away, and they came often, relentlessly, he returned to the breath. Just the sensation of air entering the nostrils, just the gentle rise and fall of the chest. He did not need the thoughts to stop. He simply needed a place to come home to. And slowly, gradually, the storm began to pass, not because he fought it, but because he stopped feeding it and kept returning, breath by breath, to the present moment. This is the practice the Buddha offered, and it is available to you right now, wherever you are. You do not need to sit in silence for an hour. You do not need a cushion or a temple or any special preparation. You only need this breath, and then the next one. When stress rises, return to your breath. When your mind races, return to your breath. When the weight of the world feels like too much, return to your breath. It is always there, steady, patient, and waiting to bring you home. 7. Trust the impermanence. Everything, including this pain, will change. If there is one teaching that runs like a golden thread through the entire fabric of Buddhist wisdom, it is this: nothing lasts. Not the good, not the bad, not the beautiful, and not the painful. Everything is impermanent. Everything is in a state of constant change. For many people, this teaching first lands as something melancholy, a reminder that what we love will not stay. And yes, impermanence does carry that bittersweet quality. But when you are in the depths of stress, when you are lying awake at 3 in the morning convinced that the pressure will never lift, when the anxiety feels so permanent and so all-consuming that you cannot imagine a morning without it, impermanence becomes one of the most compassionate truths available to you. This too shall pass, not as a dismissal of your pain, but as a genuine reminder that the nature of all things is to change. The Buddha used the image of a river to describe the nature of existence. Step into the same river twice, he suggested, and you will find it is never truly the same river. The water that touches your foot in this moment has already moved on before the thought of it has fully formed in your mind. Life is like this. Every moment is already flowing into the next. The stress you feel today is not the stress you will feel in a week or a month or a year from now. The mind tends to freeze suffering in place, to make it feel fixed, solid, permanent. But suffering is not solid, it is water, it moves. There is a beautiful teaching about a king who asked a wise man to create something that would bring him peace in times of great distress and bring him humility in times of great joy. The wise man returned with a ring, and engraved on it were 4 words: "This too shall pass." The king wore it through victories and through losses, through moments of elation and moments of despair. And always those 4 words met him exactly where he was, and always they were true. What would it mean for you to truly receive this teaching, not just as a concept, but as a felt, lived truth? To know in your body, and not just your mind, that the stress pressing on you right now is not your permanent reality. That the version of you who is struggling today is not the final version. That the chapter you are in, however difficult, is just one chapter in a much longer, much more spacious story. This does not mean waiting passively for things to change. The Buddha also taught the importance of wise action, of showing up with intention and care in your own life. But there is a difference between taking thoughtful action from a place of groundedness and spinning frantically in fear because you are convinced nothing will ever improve. One comes from wisdom, the other comes from forgetting the truth of impermanence. So let this teaching settle into you gently. Whatever you are carrying right now, the stress, the uncertainty, the exhaustion, it is real, and it is also temporary. The morning follows the night without fail, without exception. Change is not just possible, it is the very nature of existence. Trust it, rest in it, and let the river of life carry you forward, knowing that what you are moving through is already, slowly and surely, beginning to change. You have just walked through 7 teachings the Buddha offered to a world in pain, a world in many ways not so different from our own. Stress is not a sign that you are weak. It is a sign that you are human. And within that humanity lives the capacity for extraordinary peace. Return to these teachings when the weight feels heavy. Come back to your breath. Loosen your grip. Trust the river. If this video brought you even a moment of stillness, share it with someone who needs it. Like, subscribe, and continue this journey toward the peace that has always been waiting inside you.